welcome to Jamie's Backyard Chats. Today's topic will be AEDs. What is an AED, you ask? Great question. So glad you asked. AED is an automated external defibrillator, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it because they're a really good life-saving machine, but not a lot of people know about them, and because of that, when someone needs it, it's not always obtained, and it doesn't get to save the person's life when it could have. And that's all they needed was a shock from an AED. So I just wanted to spread awareness about that, especially on here, because Charge is all about like empowerment and physical fitness. And a lot of people don't know, but with physical fitness, there's also an increased chance of sudden cardiac arrest. Not that it'll like happen to you because you're exercising, but like when you go to the gym or anything, you want to be aware of like where the AED is and how you can help if you ever witness a sudden cardiac arrest. So sudden cardiac arrest is a condition where your heart just kind of malfunctions electrically, and there's no really like warning signs or family history to detect it and like to say, hey, you might be getting sudden cardiac arrest soon. Like, it's just kind of sudden, so it's good to know how to deal with it when it happens, because you never know if it'll happen around you and you might have to step in and help. So right now I'm working on my Gold Award with Girl Scouts, and my project focuses on AED awareness, because like I said, a lot of times someone is in sudden cardiac arrest and they need it, but not everyone knows about the AED and they don't get it. So AEDs, like I said, they're automated external defibrillators. So what they do, they're like a little machine, kind of like a tiny backpack, and they're usually on a wall somewhere, very visible. You can see it. It says AED very clearly, and it's supposed to be somewhere you can just grab it and run to help a person who's in sudden cardiac arrest. So when you get there and you have the AED, it'll walk you through everything. Like, if you're not certified in AED or CPR or anything like that, if you have no medical experience, that's okay. And a lot of people don't know that, so they're like, ooh, let me not step in, I don't know anything. But AEDs are for the lay person. They're designed so you don't need any medical experience whatsoever. It's kind of like the middleman in between like when the cardiac arrest happens and when the medical, like 911 gets there. So it's very important for the people around them, like the bystanders, to get the AED and help. And what you do when you have it, it's a little machine, and when you press on, it'll start talking to you. So it'll walk you through the whole thing. That's why it's like automated, and you don't need to know anything, because it'll just tell you everything with voice prompts. So it'll be like, put the pads on the patient, and it'll tell you where, but it's like here and here, kind of like around the chest or around the heart, be top, right, and left. So yeah, it'll tell you where to put the pads, and then it'll be like, okay, analyzing the patient and the heart, and it'll be able to detect what kind of heart rate the heart is in, if it needs a shock, and if it does need a shock, it'll say shock advised, and then this button will be like flashing and be like, shock the patient. And that's really important, because when a heart is in sudden cardiac arrest or just cardiac arrest, it needs a shock like super quick, like within 4 minutes, for the optimal chance of survival. If a cardiac arrest happens in hospitals, it has a 90% chance of survival, but if it happens outside the hospital, it only has 10%. And that's because like the doctors know what to do. They have all the pads and all the stuff right there. You can just like call a code. But if it's happening outside the hospital, not a lot of people know to get the AED or like what to do. They just call 911, and then by that time it'll be too late by then, and they won't have a good chance of survival. So try to kind of just like keep your eyes peeled for AEDs, and take note of them. If you ever see them, be like, oh, okay, there's the AED, I need to run back here, I can. Also, don't be afraid to help. You never know, like if you're the only one there and you remember where the AED is, like you gotta run and go get that. That will really help that person like it'll save their life, because really all their heart needs is an electrical shock, and then they'll be good. Like, that's all they need. It's kind of like if your car battery dies and you just need to jump, like, and then your battery's fine. But if you never jump it, your car's just dead. So yeah, you want to shock the heart. And remember, you don't need to be certified in order to use one. I mean, I feel like if you're certified, it's just like kind of confidence booster, like, oh yeah, I know how to use that. But if you're not certified, you've never seen an AED before, and you press on, it'll tell you everything to do, and it'll do everything by itself. You don't need any help. It's just the machine working. And you call 911, obviously, but with the 911 and the AED, that patient will be able to have a pretty good chance of survival, solely because the AED was there. And sudden cardiac arrest is kind of more common than a lot of people think. A lot of people think like, oh, like that might happen to some, but like I will never hear about that. But it's not that uncommon for a sudden cardiac arrest to happen, but it is kind of uncommon for a person to survive sudden cardiac arrest, because no one knows about AEDs and they don't know what to do if they see it. So yeah, AEDs are super important, and if you ever see them, take note. Yeah, don't be afraid to help, step in. And remember, AEDs will never make the situation worse. Like, if, say you think the person is unconscious and like they don't have a pulse, but they really just passed out, if you get an AED and you put the pads on them, the AED is not gonna like kill them or anything. It's just gonna be like, shock not advised, and then you're good. It won't shock it, it won't shock the heart, it won't let you shock the heart, so you won't be doing more damage. You would only be able to help them if they were in sudden cardiac arrest, which is good. And then they live, and then that person is alive because of you and because of the AED. So yeah, take note of AEDs, remember where they are just in case, and don't be afraid to step in. Please share this video so the word can get out, because you never know who is going to need this information. Yeah, I would really appreciate it. Thank you.